Yo, 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 it's another edition of the Geeky Bros Podcast. It's just Darcy here.
And this is Big Geek Umar. How y'all doing? Or I should say, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing pretty good. It's nice to be back, and it's warm as ever in Toronto, which is
It
amazing.
is scorching. It went from like end of winter slash beginning of spring to like full on summer.
Yeah, there was no,
No transition.
yeah,
No transition. I
like
was like,
yeah, like one day I'm wearing a jacket, next day I'm like debating shorts, like yeah,
and then the day after that, I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and I can't breathe.
yeah. I'm waiting for like, next week. It's going back to cool. Like this is just Canadian life. So we just how it is.
A buddy of mine and I were talking about this because of how the winds in like southern Ontario has been. I mean, we due to global warming and stuff, we actually may be in an area that would have high droughts or lots of like, or potentially a lot of like tornadoes.
I am in a tornado area. I've had multiple tornado warnings since I moved here.
Okay, I'm knocking on wood that like for you, for all our viewers and you, Darcy, that like no damage happens.
Yeah, and to the first comment in the live chat, unfortunately, Tactix is not with us tonight. He's just got a what's the right term for it? Outreach
Uh,
program?
Outreach program, yeah.
Yeah.
For his school, he's got an outreach program that he's like facilitating, and unfortunately, he couldn't get around it. So he will be hopefully with us next week.
Yeah, not on the podcast, but he's out there helping people feel better and get the most out of their I was gonna say their body. That sounds weird, but it is
Mobility,
technically
their mobility.
their mobility. He gonna watch this and be like, man, why you gotta say it like that, man? Why you gotta say it like that? I'm not even there, and you gotta put me on blast like that.
Well, uh, all with good intentions.
Yep, and total flubs.
Yeah. But all right, T. So Darce, I'm so used to saying T. That came right out. All right, Darce, shall we jump into our big overarching topic for this podcast?
Absolutely, let's do it.
Okay, so we are going to take advantage of the fact that Tactics is not with us, even though we miss him. We go and talk about something that we all know that Tactics is not really into, aka Star Wars. And by not really into, he does actually watch some parts of it, but like when it comes to most of the stuff, let's just say that he kind of drags his feet or is just hates space. I really want to find a therapist to help him on that because I just need to know. I need to know. He doesn't need to know. He's fine.
Bro,
Like I need to.
just move on. Just move
Sorry,
on.
sorry.
What are we talking about?
Okay, we're talking about Star Wars and specifically the Star Wars celebration and all, and I mean all the stuff that came out during like that were announced at that celebration. It was like the San Diego Comic-Con of Star Wars celebrations, and it was in Europe. It was like I think it like happened in London, and there's a Japan one happening this weekend. So we got a lot of Star Wars stuff to cover, and I don't think we have enough time just in this show. So we're gonna do our best. We're gonna go for the big highlights. First thing on the highlight is the Ahsoka trailer. So we've heard for quite a while that yeah. So like these were some of the things that like a Bad Batch. Also, I think that's an announcement, and also I think oh no, that's still Bad Batch in the bottom. We also found out that there's going to be a Mandalorian movie, which we'll talk about a little bit later. AKA, we have a lot of Grogu. But in the dead center, we got the beautiful, the talented, the amazing Rosario Dawson, and she, as we all know, was cast as Ahsoka Tano from Star Wars. Okay, first Star Wars Clone Wars, who then showed up in Star Wars Rebels, both animated series. The first one is awesome. I haven't seen the second one. And then she showed up in The Mandalorian season 2 for one episode, and she showed up in Book of Boba Fett for one episode during another episode. In that show for another episode. So yeah, so we've had 2 on-screen depictions of Ahsoka Tano so far, and now she's getting her own TV series. and we saw the trailer for it, and god damn, that was a great spot.
That was a great shot right there.
Yeah. So, okay. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the trailer that dropped for the TV series. And Darce, I've been talking for a little bit, so I'm going to pass it to you, bro. What did you think of the Ahsoka Tano trailer, or the Ahsoka trailer?
Yeah, I mean, Ahsoka Tano, however we want to put it down. I mean, it looks amazing. You know, it's amazing to see when the fans ask for a specific casting. And yes, this isn't the first moment we've seen her, but that they've asked for, you know, her to be in this role, and she's in this role. I'm super excited by it. It just was like this. I'm just still so jazzed that like the apprentice of Anakin Skywalker is just like it feels like this is gonna be like a random reference, but I was thinking this when I was watching the trailer. It's like Ahsoka is like not in personality, but is like oh my gosh, I'm forgetting the name. I can see the person in my head, but I can't say it.
Give me like context.
I wanted to surprise with the word, and then not because once I like hint at it, you know exactly what I'm saying. I'm gonna Google it real quick. Harley Quinn, that's what it was. Okay, so in that like how Harley Quinn
I see what you're saying.
Was like this thing that was invented in this one-off well, not one-off show, but in the Batman animated series, and then just became, you know, this giant character. And for me, Ahsoka is like that with Anakin, where it's just like, yeah, I was a little apprentice. He's just teaching her. And she just had such an arc. And it's like such an important character. And I just can't wait, you know, for this show. Every scene that we've seen, and I've seen that Rosario Dawson has been putting in the work for the training. Yeah. She's been doing, like 3 hours a day and just taking it very seriously. And, you know, I'm just really excited to see how it plays out. You know, my one only concern, and this is just like nitpicky type thing, is that like of all the fighters in Star Wars, like going to like the animated series, Anakin was always like the best fighter, but Ahsoka is always the most agile fighter, right? The best moving fighter, and obviously all the depictions was her very small and young. Right, and we saw her in Rebels, and she was bigger, and she moved differently. And I'm just curious. I'm just hoping that we saw a little in the trailer, and it felt good. But I'm just hoping that we see some with the badass fighting, that we see stuff that just feels very fluid with her, and you know those choreography just land and doesn't feel like good in a trailer, but like rough in the show.
Weak in person, yeah.
Yeah, and so, you know, that's my only thing, because that's just it's a big part of her character, and it's not just delivery of lines, right? So but yeah, I'm super excited. Also, this means that Rex is going to show up, right? Like, we didn't see Rex in the trailer. I don't remember seeing Rex in the trailer.
I didn't see Rex in the trailer.
Is Rex still alive at this point past Rebels? Can't remember.
I honestly don't know. Like I'm honestly, there's so much to Star Wars now that I can't even keep up. And in this trailer, it really made me feel it, because people were making references to a lot of things. I was like, wait, huh? Like, for example, Mary Elizabeth Winstead is like cast in this as well, and she's playing her name is named, she's after one of the Greek goddesses. I'm just trying to remember which one. Hera. She's named the character's name is Hera, the green one. So she is cast in this as well, which makes it that like all of Ewan McGregor's family, like his wife and daughter, have all been in Star Wars now.
Nice.
So like get your family in. And also we have a new actress playing Sabine Wren, who's like a Mandalorian warrior. We saw
is that from these photos here you sent me? I don't know.
Yeah. So on the right is Hera, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and on the left of Rosario Dawson is the woman who's playing Sabine. I don't remember her name right now, but basically the three of them are basically front running the series, with Ray Stevenson being some sort of dark Jedi, and he has another dark apprentice, but they're not Sith because apparently they have orange lightsabers. Going back to what you were saying about the fight choreography, Darce, if anyone has watched Ray Stevenson's career, he is known for being a physical actor. He was a physical actor and got into a lot of like fights in HBO Rome. He did the same thing for Dexter, and he was also the Punisher for one of the films. So he is not unknown to combat. Now he is getting up there. I'll give him that, and even looks old, elderly, but like not like elderly senior, but like older. And he does seem to have a fight with Rosario Dawson. I want what you said to have happen. I want that, like, she's putting in the work. I want him to. He's not someone I feel would slacken the work, but I don't want it to be like a slow lightsaber fight. I want it to be jazz. I want it to be like, these are people who clearly survived Order 66. They were there during the height of the Jedi, which means they can fight, and I want them to fight.
Yeah. I'm also like rewatching the trailer right now because I'm like, we're talking, I'm all hyped. And I was just noticing little things I didn't pick up on before, which is like, for instance, Ahsoka standing over top of like a temple, and she's like at the very beginning of the trailer, and she wants to go down, and she does the two lightsabers, the spin, and I'm like, okay. And then the spin was smooth, the spin was the right speed. And we all know, we like those of us who watch the Clone Wars like heavily, we know the like the timing and the pacing of stuff. So, yeah. You know what? I gotta say this, and like we'll get into this later, but the most recent episode for the Mandalorian, they really feel, at least like this trailer's telling me, it feels like what I want every Star Wars like show to be, which should feel like the movie broken up, right? Like it should feel like it's still part of that universe as a movie level, but it's like broken up into this like mini stories, right? And I don't feel like I got that with Book of Boba Fett. Like
Book of Boba Fett had a lot of things going against it for some reason, like because like it didn't have confidence in itself. Clearly, first of all, well, I will say that this is one of the Book of Boba Fett is kind of an example of how Disney is getting in the way of Star Wars. I wouldn't say that often, but this was an example because, firstly, they gave an opportunity of Boba Fett wanting to become a gangster, but he wanted to be a gangster who was a community leader. So it's like, okay, he gets a bunch of biker people to be his muscle.
Don't get me started on those bikes. That was thank you, the head of whatever Star Wars, for forcing Filoni to do that, and it was horrible, and everyone got to see it.
Yes. So again, Disney getting in the way, and then also they didn't have enough confidence that he could do an entire season by himself, that they threw in the opening of season 3 of like The Mandalorian. Like, there were 2 episodes there that had no reason to be in a Book of Boba Fett series.
Yeah,
they should have, and like it made it weird for people who just watched The Mandalorian, because they went from season 2, where it's like a perfect ending to a 2-season arc, to then all of a sudden they're like, wait, why is Grogu still with? Where did he get the ship? Why is Grogu back? Where did that chainmail come from? It's just, and then it's like, oh, you have to watch the second last and the third last episodes of the season to know what you're talking about. And it's like, why?
You know what? I'm gonna go on a rant for a second, but
Boba
Fett. So the best episode, it was 1 or 2, I think it was just one episode, where he was saved by the Sand People, but first he was captive and then became part of them and had a love for them, and that was amazing. That was an amazing episode. That's that's a nominee level episode, and then the rest of the show was weak. And so my feeling is what they should have done with this, and I kind of feel like I know, unless the whole show was just like a Disney forcing it, and like Filoni and Favreau just didn't have a desire to do it, and they were just like, all right, we have to do it now. Yeah. What I would have done is I would have started with that episode instead of making it like a backstory episode. Like, start with it, and I would have led the whole series to him gaining whatever level of power, and it kind of just ends there, but doesn't really like that. The whole show isn't about him running the town. It's just like him gaining power, and we don't really need to see the rest of everything else. And the reason I say that we should have done that is I have a feeling if this is Filoni and Favreau's work that they wanted to put this show in, there's a reason, because they're building something of a connection between things with the Mandalorian, other stories, that this will be a place that people will go and they will connect with Boba Fett for something specific, right? But we didn't get a strong enough season to be like, oh yeah, that's exactly what it's going. So I would have just made it like, here's how he came back, so we all could believe it. Oh, here's a great heartfelt story. Here's his strength and character. He pulls himself from literal ruins and death, and now he has reached something, taken over some power, and you can take the imagination as to why we are doing that, and we'll come back to him later when we connect him to other properties, you know, whether it's Mandalorian or maybe Grogu comes back to him later in the future, you know, something like that. It's a crossing paths kind of thing. And, you know, that would have been more interesting. I'm not saying that's like, oh, the best season ever, but it would have been better.
So yeah, going back to I don't disagree with you, man. Frankly, like there's so many ways you could have taken the Book of Boba Fett, but it was such a wasted opportunity. But going back to this, what I like this trailer made me feel excitement again. This felt like they had confidence in their character. This didn't look like they weren't bringing in random things from things that have already existed. Like there were no references to the Mandalorian. There were a very quick and small references to Andor, which I will give them, because we got to see Mon Mothma for a second, and it seems like they're talking about how the Empire is still gaining ground again, and that the New Republic is still an ineffectual government that is destined to fail. So that's interesting. And also, it looks like we get lightsaber fights from orange lightsabers, which I'm hoping to find out more about.
Orange lightsabers? Oh, hold up. Bring that trailer back.
Or like just look up the pictures, and you can anyway. So what I want is because Ahsoka by this point is not only a powerful Jedi, but also one that has connected strongly with the Force. I want a spiritual story. I also want a badass fight sequence, and I want intelligent progression of the story and the characters. I want character development, and that, I mean, like, we might as well just jump into the next topic, which is heavily connected to this this trailer. We got to see for a moment in the trailer the great Grand Admiral Thrawn character, and it was announced that he was cast by the voice actor who played him in the Star Wars Rebel series, Lars Mikkelsen. Now, this I think is chef's kiss of decisions. Yes.
Absolutely.
If they hadn't done this, I would have been very concerned.
Yeah. I'm just loving how much voice casting from Clone Wars and Rebels is coming over. Yeah. Like Bo-Katan. I didn't realize, it didn't dawn on me until she was like watching behind the scenes. She was talking about how like she had said to Filoni, like, imagine one day like we could do this live action. And she's like, here we are. And she's like a big fan. This is like, how, if we didn't have his voice on this, it wouldn't work for me.
No.
As well, because his voice is so iconic to the character. It's the pacing, it's the tone. You know, this guy, like, it would be hard. It would just sound like when somebody else does an imitation, you know?
Yeah. I know, absolutely. And the thing is, I think you nailed it perfectly on the head, Darcy. The timing and the tone of how he delivers lines. That was essentially his entire role. He would be the only one who knows how to do it, to replicate it. Because the thing that was scary about Thrawn was like wasn't the fact that he was like this like big time fighter, which frankly he was. Like
He scared you when you find out this man could throw hands. You're like, oh no! I thought you was all talk.
Yeah, literally that was my thought. Because like when I think like I remember seeing a scene like last year because you were sending me all these like Thrawn clips, and like one of them, and you and Maybot were sending me Thrawn clips, and one of them was like he gets like an assassination attempt by like dark troopers in his office, and he kills all the dark troopers. And I was like, wait, whoa, and I was like, Like Mandalorians didn't even do that. Like Din Djarin got his head smashed in.
I don't know what blue people he's from, whether it's the land of Avatar or not, but this man is strong, okay? You know, on top of that, I cannot wait for him and Moff Gideon to be in the same room. I cannot wait for that scene because they're so epic, both of them, and I needed interaction because I think Moff is gonna be scared, like really scared.
Honestly, if we can see if Giancarlo Esposito and Lars Mikkelsen are in one scene together as like villains in Star Wars,
yeah. And we'll save what is said, but going just slight jump ahead into the Mandalorian again. Moff was talking some smack as if this guy does not exist. So when this guy shows up, he could be like, man, they were just trying to cast me. That's all it was. No, like it's. Oh yeah, like when this guy was introduced to Rebels, I thought he was gonna be like a one-off in the beginning with his plan, and he was just like he was just too patient. He's like, and they all came to one spot. Now we can shoot them. You're like, wait, you were planning on your people being overturned this many times just so they could be in one spot so you could screw them up all at once, man.
He is literally the guy who's like, lose the battle, win the war.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is his strategy, and I'm just like, okay. So going back to what you were saying, I don't want. Yeah, see, like this is okay. So what we've seen so far officially has been this. So we know he's in Ahsoka. There is an extended trailer that was shown to people at Star Wars Celebration that has been like circulating online. I haven't been able to find a good quality of it. It looks pretty like just looking on my laptop looks pretty bad. I can only imagine what it would look like if we try to put it up here right here. But nonetheless, like this is the only true official look of him. And this is what I mean. I need this show to have lightsaber fights. It's going to have it. We all know that Tactix needs lightsabers, and he's going to be very happy with this, hopefully. Secondly, we are going to get a Mandalorian, hopefully, out of Sabine Wren, and I kind of wish that I get to see more of her. It'll be nice for me to know more about Hera. I don't know her too much, but I need Ahsoka. Like, okay, I haven't watched too much of Rebels. I've watched like maybe like an episode in total, but like many different scenes on YouTube. So I don't know Ezra very well. Ezra is cast in this. We did see him briefly in the trailer, but Ezra doesn't mean that much to me. And I'm sorry for Star Wars fans. He just don't mean that much to me. What means much to me is Ahsoka and Lars.
Blasphemy. Blasphemy.
It's fair. It's fair. But I'm in it for Thrawn. I'm in it for Ahsoka.
No, Ezra's cool, man. Ezra's cool. He's got a dope arc, and his mentor has a dope story within Rebels and
Janin, right?
Yeah.
Or Kanan?
Yeah, Kanan. But I can't speak. I'm not a spoiler, but he's got an amazing arc. That's all I gotta say.
Cool. But nonetheless, what I need the Rebels Thrawn just on screen. I need the thinking. I need the planning. I need the dialogues. I need the like calm, collected guy. What I love about him is I think he's only shown anger twice in the entirety of his role.
And it doesn't get better. like the vibe in the room does not get better. He is like how to put it, like controlled unhingedness.
Yes, like it's like a way to it's another way. Like he loses control of his temper on purpose to manipulate the situation, and you're just like, and
Yeah.
he's kind of like like a well, I'm gonna say like a brown mom, but I like he's like when
He's a
they're
blue mom, man.
calm.
He's a blue mom.
Yeah. When he's calm and he's upset with you, that's scarier than when he's yelling at you.
Yeah. Yeah, you know you're about to die. That's why.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah. Yeah.
you just like he gets calm, you're just like, babe, I loved you for since the day that I met you.
Think of me fondly.
It's
Um,
like you if you work for this guy, you probably have an auto message ready to go so that you can just hit the message and hit send. You don't have to type it, and it's just a message to your loved ones.
I would
Like,
be so afraid of like forgetting to submit a report to this guy.
oh my god, forgetting to submit a report, forgetting to submit a report, bro. It's like if you were using Microsoft Office and you were sending a report to this guy, and immediately the second it was 1 minute late, your computer would go into self-destruct mode.
Yeah. I like okay, so like I just don't want I need the show to be really well thought out and like have its confidence. I don't want Disney involved. Not in like both in a positive and negative way. I'm like, stay out of it. I need just let Filoni be Filoni. Let him do his thing.
Filoni and Favreau, man, just let him roll.
Yes.
Just let
Yeah.
him roll.
So I'm it looks like it will deliver. I do feel bad that I haven't watched Rebels, and it does make me like watching it. It does make me feel like I'm missing information. But
You
to be
are.
honest, I think I'm gonna watch it to see if I'm really missing a lot of information, and if I really do, then I'm gonna go back and watch Rebels.
Rebels is good. It's I've been a while since I watched it, but I would say it starts a little on the slower side, and then gets really really good as people get further into it. But it's a good cast of people. It's definitely starts in the like fun ragtag kind of way. Like there's a group of people that are together, and Ezra kind of comes in. He's the one who's like they find out he's like force sensitive, and they bring him into the thing, and they're trying to protect and all that kind of stuff. And it feels like there's no consequences in the beginning, and then as it grows, it gets closer and closer to consequences, and then they start to hurt. And but yeah, it introduces, I forget the character's name, but he was like he was in the Mandalorian, one of the episodes, and he was CGI'd, and everyone was really happy about him being CGI'd. It was an alien like creature. I don't purplish creature, and it had like a very like I forget his name, but anyways, yeah, he's a dope character in Rebels. He's like just really big and strong. It's a fun watch because it is really like not the same vibe, but it's like a Guardians of the Galaxy moving through Star Wars.
Okay.
Like it's just everyone's kind of different, but they're a family, and and it's fun, and they have like a little bit of everything, you know.
Okay. Well, moving on to we kind of like blended those two topics together, so we'll just call it all the one thing. But our next next big announcement, and next thing of our topics is the announcement that Daisy Ridley is returning to Star Wars after her last appearance in The Rise of Skywalker as Rey Skywalker, and she is going to be headlining her own movie, which is going to be set, I think, like 15 years after The Rise of Skywalker, and it's going to be following her as like a Jedi Master as she is trying to rebuild the Jedi Order. Hold on, let me find out. I remember. So it is going to be written by Stephen Knight and directed by Charmin Obaid Chinoy. Those neither of those names. Stephen Knight sounds somewhat familiar, but yeah. So I'm interested, Darcy, because like I remember you weren't a huge fan of this character. So like, what are your thoughts on the fact that she's getting her own movie?
Well, the fact you said that you're interested makes one of us.
Okay.
I'm looking up this guy's like writing, and not giving me any more hope and desire. I'm on the IMDb,
no.
and I'm seeing stuff like. Here's the thing, I'm not seeing anything that directly concerns me. I'm also not seeing anything that gives me any other desire and intention. The only thing on this list that I recognize is the Apple TV show C that had Jason Momoa. It was the one where it was like a bunch of blind people, and he was the one with vision or something like that. I don't know. I didn't watch it. I had a friend who was actually on the show, played opposite Jason Momoa, and ironically kind of looks like Jason Momoa, and like people joke about it. So he played in like one of the episodes opposite. It's a funny story to it because they were blind and there had to be a lot of touching involved. And he may have accidentally grabbed the wrong part of Jason Momoa, but anyway, and what I meant. But outside of that, I mean, he's been a writer on Peaky Blinders, Great Expectations.
I'm looking him up too now.
Rogue Heroes, A Christmas Carol, Lockdown. It's not that these are
good stuff. Like he did Eastern Promises for a film.
Okay.
That was he did Girl in the Spiderweb, which I heard was decent.
Yeah,
those are movies. So his movies are a little bit more hit of a miss, but like the True Detectives was done well. Peaky Blinders is very, very well received. Taboo was dark but also well received. C is what you're talking about, yeah. Christmas Carol, didn't watch it.
Well, then you're giving me more hope because I've not seen these properties. Is what I'm getting at, and so it doesn't give me any hope because I don't know his work. But Peaky Blinders. I've seen the clips from that. So actually, Peaky Blinders looks like such a damn good show that it intrigues me.
I have gotten nothing but wide acclaim from both critics and also from people. Yeah. So
okay. So that's one positive note. Now here's all my other things. I don't care for this character anymore.
Okay. I'm sorry. I now recognize who the director's from. She directed Ms. Marvel.
Yeah, bro, that's not helping.
Why?
Oh, the TV show?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking Captain Marvel.
No. She directed 2 or 3 episodes of Ms. Marvel.
Were they the good ones?
Yes.
I mean, the show overall had mostly good episodes, but had some bad CGI. Okay. So they got some decent people. That's a good start. The problem I have here is it's still tied to the same flipping story that I don't like. That I don't like, which is
the whole sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
Got it. Oh no,
it's nothing but a bad taste in my mouth at this point. And like her trying to rebuild. Like here's the thing. Like even like Mark Hamill made the comment. He had that one interview where he's like telling the story of the trilogy, and he's basically like, oh, a person like lost, destined in like a desert, who gets found, who has like a mysterious powers, who is raised up to then destroy a Death Star, and like it's like the sequel trilogy is literally the original trilogy told all over again, and the only difference is that they put a woman in the role. And don't get me wrong, I got no problem. Ahsoka, I love me like the females in Star Wars, 100%. Don't tell the same story. Like literally, we're like a Death Star. I mean, like, man, this make the prequels look intelligent. Like it was at least a story leading to a story. This is just a story that repeats the last story all over again. It's like the Empire and everyone couldn't think of something else to do. And so now we're going to have her go and try to rebuild. And I'm like, what is this going to be like? The backstory of Luke Skywalker when he screwed up and tried to kill what's
Ben
his
Solo.
name? Yeah, Ben Solo. And what are we gonna do? We're gonna have another couple movies where she tries to build, and then she has a student who she can't fully trust, and she makes a bad decision, and then boom, we're into like a whole. I'm like, I guarantee you, like Disney's gonna want that, and then we're gonna have good writers and directors just putting out garbage. So
Okay.
her coming back is working for me like that haircut's working for me. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, I'm not here for it. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. I will say that I am counter to you, and I am here for it. I was slightly less, but now that I've seen who's writing and directing it, I am significantly more. Because
are you forgetting who's in charge of Star Wars?
I'm saying because the thing is, because right now Lucasfilms, yes, it is being led by Kathleen Kennedy. However, this property, if it is going to be having any kind of connection to The Mandalorian, it's going to get influence from Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. They weren't around during the sequel trilogies.
Clearly,
They yeah, exactly. They came in after.
Yeah, clearly.
Yes. Also, I think having such a monumental failure that is the sequel trilogy, because like the first Force Awakens I enjoyed, but it was, as you put it, a complete rehash, just somewhat changed for what happened in the first one. The second one was basically counter to any Star Wars film. I really liked The Last Jedi, to be honest. I did feel that like the whole Finn and Rose storyline needed its own like side story. Like it didn't need to be in the plot. But I actually very much enjoyed that film. The third one was a train wreck because it was like, okay, so we upset people. Let's undo that. This feels like it's a somewhat extent. It's like, okay, we did a bad fixing. Let us fix it again. So on concept, I wasn't a fan of it, but I haven't enjoyed the fact that like Daisy Ridley and John Boyega and Kelly Tran have all been treated so horribly by Star Wars fans, but it wasn't even their fault. I'm not against them getting some level of redemption, just like the actor who played Jar Jar Binks is getting got like a massive redemption, or not even a redemption because he didn't even do anything wrong. But what's the word? Vindication. So I'm willing to give this a try, and I'm willing to keep my heart open to this because, first of all, it doesn't sound like they got bad writers and directors to do it. Second of all, I mean, like the director is a Pakistani, so I'm just like, ooh. But also, I would like something with Rey to be redeemed. Like, I don't know, maybe someone goes up to her and is like, "Are you Rey Skywalker?" It's like, "No, I don't go by that name anymore because it was a stupid name decision," or something like that. And I don't know, just like Star Wars has been retconning stuff. Let's continue the retcon and like fix that.
I mean, yes, I want redemptions and vindications all around. I mean, I would love one for Finn, but that ain't never gonna happen. He ain't never gonna step back to Star Wars.
Oh, you know, and good for him. He's like, fuck y'all.
Yeah, 100%.
Also, his career is going fine. He don't need it.
He doesn't need that stress in his life. I'm gonna hold out to the last minute. Like I'm gonna put Dungeons and Dragons level expectations on this, where it's like, let me see if Rotten Tomatoes and the audience scores agree. Then I'll be interested. Otherwise, I am reluctantly going to that movie theater, and I'm putting more attention into the popcorn that I'm buying than the movie.
Fair. Okay, yeah. So yeah, we shall see. This has just been an announcement. We'll see how it goes out. We'll see what the trailer is. So to be continued. Moving on to our next topic is so we also found out at Star Wars Celebration that Dave Filoni is creating a film that is going to essentially tie up everything to do with the Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, and there was something, yeah. I forget what else storyline. Rebels? Ahsoka and Rebels, like something along those lines. Basically, so this is us moving into season 3 of The Mandalorian, but also the fact that Dave Filoni clearly is going to be making a film to basically wrap that all into a bow.
To wrap up all the series that we watched and kind of
send
I like that. Like that's smart because like that way it's not like the MCU where we gotta wait for these characters to show up in this movie and that movie and it's 4 years down the road and we're like, why not? It'd be nice to see something where, like, I'm not saying they all show up like an Avengers moment, but more like they all play a part in a film. And why did we see all these things? What did it lead to? And then that maybe is like, this is going to be a bad analogy, but like the Big Bang to the new era of Star Wars that like we're heading into, where it's like all of this stuff leads to a moment, like this movie. Because I feel like, especially where we're at with Mandalorian right now, like we're leading to something big for Star Wars, like where things are opening up, like that whole episode where. And that character who's been working with Moff Gideon on, I forget which name of the planet, but she's been like moving around, doing stuff. And I feel like everything related to that planet is like opening itself up to, what planet is that?
Navarro?
No, not Navarro.
Or Coruscant.
Coruscant, like the big utopian like metropolis like environment, right? So it's going to open up to a big, like, I think that like the Star Wars universe and Coruscant and stuff like that are going to have like a big flip on upside down, right, kind of moment, and we're going to see the Empire like return type deal. And so having a movie that leads up to all these things kind of happening, trying to prevent something, and they can't prevent it. And the movie kind of ends with like, and welcome to Empire 2.0. And it's just like, and then we're just like, holy crap. And I like that idea of it. Like, it feels like it's building to that moment.
Yeah, look, I would say that what I think is that the New Republic and the Jedi aren't going to be anywhere near this. And that what's really going to happen is that the Mandalorians are going to be the ones that destroy the Empire finally and completely. And just like you say, when it's destroyed, it starts the beginning of the First Order. And that's what the First Order is. It takes all the leftover remnants of the Empire that were destroyed by the Mandalorians, and while they have set up their whole base of operations, the First Order basically takes what little remnants, because like we might as well just jump into the Mandalorian now. FYI, we are going to be reviewing everything up until this past Wednesday's episode. So spoilers, if you haven't watched episode 7 that just came out this past Wednesday, we go and spoil some stuff.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. So we saw in this past week's episode that the Shadow Council of the Empire is actually, they are significantly more powerful than they let on. They have been acting very weak and disorganized when really they actually completely coordinated and have a very strong military force. I feel that is going to be the main focus of the Mandalorian film that Dave Filoni is going to make. And clearly that's like the main thing that we've been working towards the last 3 seasons of The Mandalorian, because Giancarlo Esposito don't play.
No, he doesn't.
So now I'm going to move into like my review of season 3, if you don't mind me, Dars.
Yeah, it's not over, is it?
Next week is going to be the last one.
Oh, thank goodness. The way you said that made me feel like it's like my review. I'm like, it's over. That was the end right there. I feel like we need like one more in the bank.
we are getting one more in the bank.
Thank you.
But I have been a little not disappointed, but uneasy with the season because the first 2 seasons, like I've been seeing online, people have been complaining, oh, there are too many side stories. The Mandalorian has been going on side quest after side quest since the first episode. Like this man has literally built his entire series over side quests.
Yeah.
But the one thing the series has done well in the first 2 seasons is that it's been doing the side quests, but it has been equally and well balanced, like the Force. It's been doing. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. It was right there.
Catch my pun.
Yeah. While it's been doing side quests, it has been equal in pacing of the actual overall storyline, and that has progressed well. Unfortunately, with this season, it feels like the side quests are like really out there.
Yeah.
And the actual progression of the story is like all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
There's no balance anymore. Like some episodes feel like they rush the hell out of the narrative. Others feel like they're just not giving a crap about the narrative. And you're just like, okay, well, hold up. Why is everyone acting this way? Why is the pacing all off? And as a result, it just feels disjointed, which isn't, I mean, like everyone hits a snag every now and again, but it doesn't feel like they feel like they're rushing stuff for this season. And I'm like, why are you rushing?
Mm-hmm. Was that a segue for me to jump in?
Yeah, I thought you were like itching to say something, so I was like,
no, I was just agreeing with you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so like don't get me wrong, I have enjoyed seeing Din Djarin going to Mandalore. Okay, first of all, the budget on this show is insane. The graphics that they are showing are gorgeous. My personal opinion.
Oh no, I agree with you.
I mean, like the fact that we've had like aerial battles the way they are like, this is a TV show, and they have those aerial battles. I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, facts.
So yeah, so like the budget, killing it. Costumes, girl.
that was like, what's the word for it? Like a knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah.
like it was just like, yeah. I mean, she know how to walk. That's all I'm gonna say.
There have been so many TikTok and Twitter and Instagram memes over this girl and her walk in this show, and I'm just like, this is a fully armored, fully clothed, fully like armed woman, and everyone's just like, and it's hilarious because I saw a female TikToker who's like, so everyone was giving shade to this woman in season 1 who would like sees Mando in this all outfit, and she's like, I want to marry you, and you should just like stay here and help raise my kid. And everyone's like, this girl is thirsty and is desperate. But an entire internet full of men see this girl walk, and we all like, girl.
I guess it just proves that men don't focus on what's in the helmet as much.
No.
That was facts.
Oh,
that was
no.
facts. That was as good as I could say it.
Yeah. Oh no. Anyway, so going back to a point that Darcy made like way back at the beginning of this podcast. Yes, her transition from animated Bo-Katan to live action Bo-Katan, pure genius.
Absolutely.
She embodies the character. She owns the character. She knows the character. She respects the craft. This is what I'm talking about.
She loves like Star Wars. She's
Yeah.
she's a OG fan of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like the kind of person who feels privileged to be where they are, and that goes a long way to the effort that they put in.
Yeah, like her dad got her into Star Wars. She brought him to set.
That's respect right there.
Yeah, like for me, like I'll bawl my eyes out if I got my daughter to Star Trek and then like she like brought me on set to Star Trek, I'm like, I'm so proud of you. But okay, so going back to like I like the fact that like her relationship with Grogu, awesome. Her growing relationship with Din Djarin, I'm like shipping this couple, even though they're not a couple, but I'm shipping this couple. Her storyline is going in the direction that I like, and like he has actually become a side character to his own series, which is kind of a trend with Star Wars TV series apparently. But I'm not against it with this show because it's called The Mandalorian. For all we know, The Mandalorian could be Grogu, and this is just showing his entire like infancy to when he was a foundling to the end of the movie when he becomes the leader of Mandalore because his mom is Bo-Katan and his dad is Din Djarin. Mm-hmm. So like for me personally, like I like the story elements, but this season feels like they're just rushing through everything. And that's not cool. Like it feels like kind of like the middle episode.
Yeah, I got you. I mean, yeah, they've definitely had some rough episodes this season. Yeah, none in more particular than this one.
So okay,
now I do have I have a very loved moment in this episode. Very loved.
Enjoyed this episode to some degree, but I had some problems, and one of them was actually a very sad moment for me. So like Christopher Lloyd so first of all, we have Jack Black on the right here, and we have Lizzo, who I didn't know who she was until like you told me. So I didn't know who she was. I was watching this and I'm like, this girl cannot act. But I feel like I feel like she's important. Like I feel like she bought her way onto the show.
Yeah. You know, when you're like, you see someone on a show, you're like, they are struggling with these lines, and yet you're like, man, they must be a celebrity. Like they have not earned the right to be in this room. Not in the traditional way of acting.
I know it was in her contract that she has to hold Grogu the whole time.
Oh my god! I mean, that's the part of her character makes most sense. but
again, I don't know Lizzo. I'm not throwing shade at her as a artist. But she's not up to scratch.
She was forcing them things out. Those lines felt like when you're doing a presentation and you didn't get time to prepare the night before.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Now I will say there's two things in this episode that I like. Two things. One, there were, I want to say, nods to Star Wars, or not Star Wars, Star Trek. There's just some set designs, some vibes. Yeah, it wasn't entirely, but it was just like some things I was like, oh, this really reminds me of like
Blade Runner, Star Wars.
They've actually had a lot of Blade Runner, especially in the last episode. They had a lot of Blade Runner vibes.
There was Star Trek also, and a little bit of Chinatown even.
Oh, okay, yeah. Now, one of my favorite things in this episode, really, really, really loved it, was the Ugnaughts. I loved bringing the Ugnaughts back. I love that dialogue. I know it was like, the thing I liked about it was here you have Bo-Katan, and she's like coming in and being very strong, right? Being very demanding. And she says a couple things that sounds offensive, right? Like this work, it was clearly faulty, right? It's clearly faulty. And the Ugnaughts take high offense to calling their work not good, right? And I just love Din Djarin having that experience and just being like, let her doing her thing, and then just being like, and then reframing his whole dialogue to being like, we of course did not mean to make offense. We know the Ugnaughts are known, revered around the galaxy for their craftsmanship. It's like blah blah blah, and then I have spoken. And I'm like, oh, it just landed for me. It just worked. I was enjoying that and that dialogue. And then she just like, what was that? He's like, I've had some experience. And then I forgot what his experience was, and I had to Google it, and I was like, oh, that brought me back to the emotions.
Yeah.
It was what was it? His name? Quill.
Quill.
That's how you pronounce it. I couldn't remember. I was reading
Or
it.
Q. Yeah, like he was voiced by Nick Nolte.
Yeah, but like his sacrifice, I forgot about it. And oh, so good. So good.
Yeah. And I also liked that, like, it's kind of like to your point, like after that, he then went like apeshit crazy on the droids, and she was the one reeling him in. So it was balanced.
Yeah. Him and droids. He does not respect a robot. Like there's no
iRobot. That was it. iRobot was the other reference that he was making. Because he was kicking them until one of them freaked out.
Yeah, that was really good. That was really good. Yeah. Okay.
I will say that what was a very happy moment turned to a very sad moment. Christopher Lloyd, not meaning to be ageist, but Christopher Lloyd, yeah, like I was happy to hear him, I was happy to see him, but he is aged, and hearing him kind of like struggling to get the lines out on time and hearing the slurred speech for it. Oh, that hit feels. That hit feels. I was like, oh man, I like that hurt. That hurt a little bit. But yeah. I mean, you can't fight age. We all got it. But like, oh.
I mean, I hear you. It didn't hit like that for me. However, I was still reeling after Lizzo. So I mean, she was setting him up and he was knocking him down. No problem in my eyes.
Fair. I found the episode a little silly at times, which is not something I enjoy.
That episode was straight silly. But you know what episode wasn't silly? The next one.
Oh right, yeah. It's like what? Which one?
The one we want to talk about. The one with Moff Gideon in it.
I had one complaint about Moff Gideon, and I'm not used to getting a complaint from Moff Gideon, and I don't blame him. I blame the director. It's a small, insignificant thing, but it was so funny for me. So at the end of his speech, and I'm like, yo, this man's just like, you know, he's Giancarlo. And then he goes into the middle of the room and he starts twirling like he's got like a wedding dress on. And I'm like, he's a hologram. So like, they're just seeing him like straight. And then he just started twirling in the hologram for him. And I was just like,
oh, you mean the shadow thing?
Yeah.
I you know what, when I was watching that, I was thinking like they're doing the shadow thing and he's in there, right? And I'm still thinking, I'm like, so this tech, the way that they visualized it was invented like back in the 70s and the 80s, right? Like the idea.
Yeah.
So, and I'm just thinking like our technology advanced so far, and I'm like, so you're telling me that there is no camera in front of all of these people, yet they're being projected as if there's a camera. And then he walks through the room into multiple areas. What are they seeing? Is this motherfucker like walking out of the hologram? And they're just like where is he again?
And then the brother twirls at the end. Yeah. So that threw the whole scene for me. I was like, oh, why? But why is he doing this? And also he's being like, in that moment, he went from being Moff Gideon to Giancarlo Esposito being like just enjoying himself. Because I was like, my man's like, long live the Empire. And he's like spinning around, and I'm just like, and I was like, he started off giving shade to Thrawn, and I'm like, oh shit. And he asked for, like, my man asked for Praetorian guards. And I was like, and then my brother twirls, and I was like,
yeah, because he got his request.
I guess.
Yo,
I mean facts.
New girl reference. Can a brother twirl sometimes? Can't a brother twirl? Happy
Endings.
Was that Happy Endings?
Yeah, it's same actor, but from Happy Endings. What, a brother can't twirl?
Oh yeah.
No, same actor though. So you were like you were half right.
Reference still holds down. I got the wrong show.
Agreed.
Reference still holds down.
Yeah, but like fair. Okay, I mean, I guess you're right. Like if I just got like 3 Praetorian guards like assigned to me and also an entire like a TIE fighter squadron, I'll be like, yay. Uh,
Did me immediately kicking you out of the dark side.
like this is the Shadow Council, Umar. We need mature individuals here.
we need your shadow. We don't need you.
Yeah. But okay, so like aside from that, I actually really enjoyed this episode. But again, it was weird because now they're like rushing this. It feels like, why did you do all those episodes of side quests if you're gonna rush through the ending? Like the beginning of the season, he got cleansed, found that the planet is survivable, got it had Bo-Katan like get the dark saber from him and then give it back to him, and then sees a mythosaur all in the span of one episode, and then he like gives her the dark saber at the end of an episode randomly, and it was like, did he just think of that loophole, or was that like something he was thinking about for a while? He was waiting for the right moment. I don't know. And then in this episode, they just like all that shit what goes down. I was like, okay, again, this is really good, but you guys are rushing it like a little bit. Like the pacing is a bit off. Also, did they, when they had their feast, did they kill those little birds, the hatchlings that they got? Because I thought they were foundlings.
I'm trying to remember the feast. Oh, the big birds that were there.
Yeah.
Foundlings. I'm trying to remember now.
So like that big pterodactyl thing that took Paz Vizsla's son.
Oh.
And then they were going to feed the little ones, but then they brought the little ones saying that they're foundlings. I'm like, oh, they're going to train them to fly. And then they all were having big chickens for dinner. And I was like...
Yeah, when they said the foundlings, I took that as sarcasm.
I took that as serious.
Because Bo-Katan, I think, was the one that said that. The way they were brought them in, I'm like, I don't think that they can be foundlings because they don't interact properly.
Well, yeah, they have no higher brain function, agreed. But like they can be trained to be like beasts. Like one of the things about the Mandalorians are they're known for being beast tamers.
Fair point.
So, hi Courtney, hello fam. So yeah, like that's why I was like, did they just cook their foundlings?
I don't know. I just took that as straight sarcasm because it was like, I didn't take it as like they were gonna train them. I did ask that question in my head, but I'm like, that doesn't really make sense. So
okay, all right. Nonetheless, that is how I feel about this season. Darce, what do you think about the season as a whole?
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. The season's got ups and downs. I mean, the ups are definitely moments like this where they're having that badass fight and everything with Moff Gideon, the call out to Thrawn, the straight disrespect on his name. Like Moff, I don't know why you bring that heat to yourself.
Exactly, man.
Like he's just like, yeah, when he shows up. However, I think that Thrawn is he's gonna know that like Moff is a powerful enough dude that he's gonna want to use him, not kill him, right? But he's gonna put him on the edge. But yeah, I mean, Lizzo's a low point. These fights are a high point. It's definitely up or down, but I've been really enjoying where it's starting to lead at the end of the season. I do wish it wasn't as rushed. That we could have maybe had some of these side quest episodes, like the Lizzo one, significantly reduced, right?
Agreed.
Like maybe we drop the whole like cop part of it and try to figure out the mystery and just make it more of a like they just do a couple things, they go get a thing, and we spend more time like them figuring out the backstory to the Darksaber plot hole, and just I don't know, more make that like all that content half of the episode and do more time to flesh out everything else and give better pacing. So yeah, I agree, but overall it's still exciting because where this is ending, I don't know, it feels like it's going from this season makes me feel like everything that we've done so far in Mandalorian has been a really big build up to make this feel like the expansion of the Star Wars universe and making things big and stop being so small and grounded, which is good. I like the small and groundedness, but now it feels like it's like they're launching the new Star Wars era out of this. And the Mandalorian is going to be a big part of what the new Star Wars era is.
They have a small problem because, like, what you call it, the sequel trilogy had no mention of the Mandalorians. And this was with the First Order basically taking over the galaxy and like being a problem, and and them like asking for help, and no one came to their aid. It's like I hope that like whatever the plan is with the Mandalorians before it goes narratively before it goes towards like the sequel trilogy era, I hope the Mandalorians make a peace treaty with the First Order, being like, look, we're going to rebuild our civilization. If you and like they kick the Empire's ass, and like they see the First Order joining up, it's like, okay, look, if you so much as step 1 foot on any Mandalorian planet, we will come for you. But if you stay the fuck out of our way, you do your thing with the rest of the galaxy. Like something along those lines to kind of be like, the First Order were terrified of the Mandalorians and we're like, fine, we will not fuck with them. We will just take over everyone else. Say something like that. I can get behind it. But if they don't do that, or if they kill off the Mandalorians, I'm gonna be very upset.
Yeah, I'm overall like good with that. Yeah, I'm good with it. By the way, to your point of the sequel trilogy and the Mandalorians, I don't care. They got enough stuff to retcon. I don't care how they stick that in. So
Okay. So in regards to the latest episode that came out on Wednesday, there is a huge theory going around that there is a traitor among the Mandalorians.
I can tell you who it's not.
Grogu?
Well, yes, Grogu. Oh, Grogu had such a good moment in this episode when the two were fighting and he stepped in the middle.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Does he give you Krang vibes in that TR12?
Krang. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. But anyways, the person I was saying wasn't the traitor, is the dude in the middle with the Gatling gun.
Well, yeah, he kind of proved that at the end of the episode when he especially took on 3 Praetorian guards by himself.
Yeah.
But so the current theory is that the armorer is the traitor.
Yeah. Because like
I don't want it to be.
Someone goes saying that she goes all the way back to the fall of Mandalore and something she did then, and she's been concealing herself since then.
It doesn't make sense because like Moff Gideon had no idea that the Mandalorians were uniting.
What if she was a traitor and then she stopped? And at some point she stopped in and around the beginning of the Mandalorian. Could be something there.
I think it's if there's going to be a traitor, I think it's that asshole guy that Bo-Katan fought, who like basically took her fleet and left.
Yeah, no one's gonna be butthurt about that. That's for sure.
Yeah, but okay, so I am afraid they're going to kill Din Djarin in the next season, in the next episode.
Oof. Why you gotta do this to me right now?
Okay, here's my reasoning. There have been rumors, that Pedro Pascal hasn't been exactly happy with his role in The Mandalorian.
There's been rumors of that since the first season.
Yes, I know, but they resurfaced again. Secondly, his character has nothing else to do. Like, unless they're like, oh, he hooks up with Bo-Katan and they give Grogu a baby brother or a baby sister. he really doesn't have anything else to do in this series.
You know, on that note, how do Mandalorians actually have children? Do they like do it with helmets on?
Well, I think the
hard.
hardcore, like I'm like my man Paz Vizsla, he has a son, so he clearly definitely did it with his helmet on.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. I'm like, there's no exceptions even for like that. All right, you set me on one there. Okay, okay.
But yeah, so like his story has nowhere to go, and on top of that,
why you gotta say this before the episode, man? If it happens, I'm gonna be mad at you. Why couldn't you just keep that in until the season was over? Okay,
well, I thought this was a safe space.
why do you think trying to say something that could be predictive spoiling one episode before the finale?
It's a theory.
Yeah, well, okay. I want to hear that theory.
Okay, well, I apologize. I take it back.
No, you
I was hoping
cannot.
you would just. I was hoping you would dissuade me of it.
I do want to dissuade you of it now, but you got stuck in my head.
But yeah, so I just feel like something's missing in this season that wasn't there before. Granted, this season there was a lot more hype than in previous seasons. Like first season, we were like being introduced to the world and we loved Baby Grogu. But season 2 ended on such a way that, like, frankly, that felt like a series finale. But then they're like, oh well, you know, the reclaiming of Mandalore, and it's kind of already happened.
Yeah.
So, like, what's the point going forward?
More of this badassness. I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. And then there's definitely moments of like, I didn't teach him that, and you know, and how he's growing. But it does feel also like Grogu hasn't grown enough to be independent of him. And yeah, you could be like, okay, Bo-Katan or whatnot could take. I'm like, yeah, but that feels ham-fisted. Like that feels like he's not ready to become something bigger if he loses them at this point. The only way it would make sense to me is if Ahsoka shows up in the last episode and Din Djarin dies and he goes off with Ahsoka to like go on like the second attempt at the Jedi stuff. But then that would definitely pull him away from being the Mandalorian, right? And then that whole like premise that we're theorizing that the Mandalorian is Grogu and that he'll be the leader in the future. So you know, like he needs to stay with them for a period of time. So I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't need to go away and get his Jedi mastering on and come back, but it just feels too soon. It feels too soon.
Yeah, that's why like I have no idea where this series is going anymore. And to be honest, I'm kind of losing a little bit of patience for it.
Hurtful words. Well,
I don't like saying them.
Well, you're going on a negative here, Umar. We gotta pick this back up. We gotta move this on because I don't want to think about this going in the next week this much, bro. So
okay, all right. So moving on away from Star Wars. We are to our final topic, which is something that we can do a little bit more of since Tactix is also away. Anime updates.
You putting hate on his name like Thrawn out here.
I'm giddying him.
Yeah, exactly.
But we're gonna give some anime updates because actually, we'll start with you, Darcy. We are all aware that you are progressing through One Piece, and I think that's the only thing you're progressing through at the moment. So, the last I heard, you were at like 412? Episode 412?
Oh, my good friend. So, I've been finishing this arc. Currently, I just crossed... Let me get the official number, because I might be an episode 1 or 2 off from what I'm thinking. What is the next episode or current episode that I'm on? I am currently finishing episode 501.
What? Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, Absolutely loving it. First off, looking at this picture right here, you can tell that this was an epic arc, and we're still in it. So this arc, actually, let me bring that screen back up. Let me see how big this arc is, because it is a mammoth arc, and this is what like One Piece is all about. So I'm just gonna click to play that real quick, and it'll just say from episodes 385 to where is this end? From episodes 385 to I gotta do this the hard way. Episodes 385 to 516 is the length of the arc.
So you're almost done this arc, but holy shit.
Yeah, so this arc is basically like, so there's Luffy, which is like our captain, right, who leads everything, and he has a brother, and his brother gets captured, and at this is with his Navy headquarters, they're going to execute him. So there's this big thing where he's pushing to try to save his brother, and and his brother is like a second commander in what's called Whitebeard's, or like, I can't think of the word, but like his crew, right? Okay. And so Whitebeard brings his people and his connects, and they all go for this big battle, and they're storming, and there's like hundreds of people in this battle. It is the fourth great ninja war, okay, in Naruto, but this is only halfway through the show so far. And
just to interrupt for 1 second, you are not kidding, because I just did a quick search, and currently One Piece, while still airing, has 1,057 episodes.
Yeah.
So you are technically just shy of exactly halfway point.
Exactly. This battle, this thing is amazing. It's big. It's epic. I won't spoil for those who may be thinking to watch, even though I was spoiled of this information long before I got to this arc, but it was still hard to watch and good and everything. It's basically this big, courageous endeavor to save his brother. And after the battle finishes, they go into a very long, which is still part of the arc, backstory of him and his brother, and a third character that we've never seen up until this thing was introducing a whole new person. And the writer of this show, man, how are you going to be like, all right, here, let me give you this whole big battle, okay? Maybe I do have to spoil this a little bit, okay? So here's this whole big battle leading up to a character that we're trying to save, and you save him, and then the character has to sacrifice themselves immediately, and then you mentally and emotionally break your main character. Like, when I say break the main character, mental break, like mind snaps, and then you go into a backstory that's like 15 episodes long to show their childhood, so that you can now feel the depth of the pain that that person is feeling and everything that they're imagining and what they're remembering. I'm like, yeah, so you lead a battle for like 80 episodes to get me to a point through thick and thin. When I say like lead a battle, the guy literally is on a random island he just got jettisoned to, he didn't get control over, gets through something, finds out his brother's doing this thing, rushes to a prison that's like impenetrable, fights his way down 6 levels in this prison. Then his brother gets taken out before he gets there, so he has to fight his way back up the 6 levels, get on a ship, go towards a war, go into the war, fight the war, and he has not taken a break, he has not slept, he has not eaten since he left to go to the prison in the first place. He went to the prison and he almost dies twice, like literally on the brink of death. He shouldn't have survived it. Goes to the war, keeps fighting every single person, and you're going to do all that. That's to lead up to a giant emotional moment, and then go, let's do a backstory. Absolutely genius stuff. Absolutely genius stuff. And even though I spoiled some stuff there, it is still worth every moment of watching it.
Like, honestly, like, none of that felt like a spoiler. It just felt like you were describing what's happening. This show, man, like, I'm still scared to try it out, but like, it's also, I want to try it out. It's just, you have me in a very like middle ground, but I mean, by the way, have you updated your My Anime list
Ooh,
profile?
good question. My internet dropped there for a second, but I am
Ooh.
back.
Oh, and we might have lost him. So I will continue talking. So this is a good time for me to switch to my anime update. So I have had some time to finally been able to catch up with some anime, and what I decided to focus on is a show called Bungo Stray Dogs. Now, this is from Studio Bones, the same people who did Full Metal Alchemist. In terms of animation, this is its fourth season that came out, and the previous season was kind of like it finished in 2019, so it's basically the whole span of COVID before we've gotten the next season. So the season dropped, and it's all online now. So like I binged the season in a couple of days, and I will have to say that for those of you who don't know, Bungo Stray Dogs is basically it's a I'm struggling to find out how to like organize. It's like if X-Men met a literary professor and had a baby that turned into a intricate chess match. I don't know how else to describe it, because you've got people with superpowers, which is the X-Men thing. You have also people with superpowers in other areas, also with the government, also with bad guys. So it's like basically X-Men on that front. But all the powers and all the names of all the characters are authors, and all of their powers so every character is named after a famous author in Japan, but also in the world. Like there's a Mark Twain, there's a Dostoevsky, there's a Edgar Allan Poe, and also a whole bunch of Japanese writers, and all of their powers are based off their literary works. So they're all parts of different groups, and we have our main heroes who are like kind of like stuck in the middle. Like they're against the military, they're against the mafia, they're against like a guild, and against like a private organization, and they're all trying to like do their own interests, with the main heroes trying to like keep people safe. And it's very intricate with like super in-depth chess-like moves. So it is very fascinating. And like season 1, 2, and 3, like people have been talking about Bungo Stray Dogs, but not like on the mainstream. Like it never really broke that mainstream, and it's not a shonen, but it is very well written. They have some truly great great characters, some insane superhero fights, and also very unique superhero abilities. And at the same time, they go the usual anime tropes, and then they do things like unorthodox. And season 4 took its time, like as I said, like the entire span of COVID from like 2019 to now. So yeah, it's been a few years, so people have kind of forgotten about Bungo Stray Dogs, and it completely dropped. And I didn't even know it was out until like a friend of mine mentioned, like, "Oh yeah, I'm currently watching season 4." I'm like, "Wait, season 4 is out?" So like, it wasn't in any way advertised. So like, I'm using this as an advertisement. Season 4 of Bungo Stray Dogs is out, and it's good. It is a little bit more wordy than actiony this season, but at the same time, I don't mind that. It's a lot more emotions to it. So yeah, perfect, like right there. So I will say that, and yeah, the people on the right are basically like they're like the Weapon X, like they're government created super soldiers with superhero abilities, and they are terrifying, and they are like coming at people. Like one of the members is at the same level of Magneto, and he's the junior member.
Damn.
Yeah. So I will say that for those of you who haven't watched Bungo Stray Dogs, give it a try. The first couple of episodes are a bit they're a little slow, but like it catches up very quickly by the end of the season, and then season 2 it just hits the ground running. So overall, I mean, like in comparison to what Darcy just says, this is going to sound pathetic, but like all 4 seasons are about 50 episodes long. So
total?
in total.
I think each episode 50 season episodes 50 episodes long. I was like, I don't remember them being that long.
No. Yeah, so like in total, the entire series is 50 episodes long. So it's an easy like binge. So I would highly suggest Bungo State Dogs if you have time. Though,
Yeah.
Darcy, I don't think you're gonna have time for quite a while.
Well, I mean, I do want to. I was gonna start watching it again because you said it was. I was like, oh damn! And then I started the first episode, and I was like, I don't remember who these people are. so I'm like, I need a recap video to wake my
I
brain
think they
back
have
up.
those. I think they have
Yeah.
those.
Yeah, I was like, I need to get a recap video, but then I was like, I got other stuff to watch at this moment. I'm not gonna find a recap video. Like, I'm gonna watch other stuff.
I can send it to you.
All right, yeah, give me a recap video. I'm down for that. Yeah, I just didn't want to do it in that moment because it was like, do I want to sit here and watch like a 10-minute recap video, or do I just want to like watch something because I was ready to eat? And I'm like, I'm just gonna watch something right now. So
Fair.
yeah.
All right. Well, that's it for our anime updates. So I'm going to pass it to you, Darce, for our closing remarks.
Yeah, that was just another edition of the Geeky Bros Podcast. Unfortunately, Tax wasn't here today, but I think he'll be back next week. And, make sure to like, subscribe in all the right places. Check out our podcast and all of that. And for today, I'm just Darcy.
And this is Big Geek Umar. Live long and prosper, y'all, and see you guys next week. Take care. Don't forget to press the button this time.
No, I know what to do.